Welcome. Greetings, future Hokies. My name is Alexis Miller, and I'm one of the academic and career advisors in the Department of Engineering Education. Today, we are going to show you a brief video overview, and then we'll open up to a Q&A. I encourage you during the Q&A portion to use the upvote feature or like feature to let us know which questions that you might have that someone else has already asked. That way we can make that more of a priority for you. So I will let my colleagues that are with me today introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Hi, my name is Jenny Lowe. I'm a senior instructor in the department, and I teach first-year courses such as Foundations of Engineering 1.
And hello, I'm James Newcomer. I'm an academic and career advisor for general engineering students. General engineering is actually the major that you'll be in when you're admitted to the College of Engineering. It's not a degree granting program. It's housed within the Department of Engineering Education. The goal of the general engineering program is there are several different goals, but the two primary goals are to introduce you to some of the foundational skills that all engineers have, like communication, engineering design, teamwork, those kinds of things. But also it's to give you a chance to explore all of the different engineering disciplines that we have here. You know, there are 14 different engineering disciplines at Virginia Tech, and you know there are a lot of them that are well known, like mechanical engineering or electrical engineering. But there are some other ones that maybe students don't really understand that much about, like industrial and systems engineering or ocean engineering. And so you'll have about a year to figure out exactly which engineering major is the best fit for you while you're learning these foundational skills that all engineers use. So we're going to start out today by showing you a very brief video that covers some of the important information about the general engineering program. Let's get started. We'll hit play on this video and you just watch, and it's only about 2 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions and answers after this video. All right, so here's a good question for you, Jenny. How large are general engineering classes on average?
So our first-year general engineering classes have approximately up to 72 students each. And so there's a faculty member who's typically the instructor of record for that. And then there's some support with respect to graders and also usually a teaching assistant who's a graduate student, and that person also helps out with the class as well.
Now, let's see, Alexis, does the college accept AP credit for Physics 1?
I think that would depend on if you're talking about, because I think there's a Physics 1 and 2, and then there's a Physics Mechanics and then there's a physics C, and then physics E&M. So we're looking for the physics C mechanics and the physics E&M. That's a calculus-based physics. If you were to take physics 1 and 2, I believe that's algebra-based AP, and those would just be considered free electives for the College of Engineering.
All right. So I'll throw this out there to anyone who wants to answer it. Is the 74% graduation rate because some people leave the major, or is that because they do not graduate from college at all? So, actually, I'll take this one. I think this is in reference to what Dean Watford said in her presentation about the 74% graduation rate. Now, there's multiple reasons why people come into the College of Engineering and don't necessarily graduate with an engineering degree. One of the reasons is because they change to a different major. And sometimes that's just because they find a major that is a better fit outside of engineering. There are a lot of people who come to engineering and do some self-discovery and figure out, maybe I actually wanted to do business, or maybe I actually wanted to do a science. But there are some who leave college. That's not a very high percentage, but that is a thing that happens. But just to kind of give you some context, a 74% graduation rate from an engineering program is actually very high. A lot of people look at that number and they think, oh my gosh, it's a quarter of people aren't finishing with their engineering degrees. Well, that's good compared to most programs around the country. Next question. Does everyone go undecided freshman year and then choose for sophomore year? If so, when? Alexis, do you want to handle that one?
Sure. So when students are admitted to the College of Engineering, you're admitted to general engineering, which we would consider an undecided or exploratory major within the College of Engineering. But you can't graduate with a degree in general engineering. So roughly after your first 2 semesters at Virginia Tech, students are going to be eligible then to apply to one of the 14 degree granting engineering majors. And that eligibility is based on finishing coursework, having a certain GPA, and then also a certain number of GPA hours.
What class do freshman students usually struggle the most with? Jenny, you want to take a look at that one?
So this is based purely on what I've heard from students, but a lot of them say their calculus classes and sometimes their chemistry classes as well.
Yes, very much the same thing. All right. Oh, here's a great one for you, Jenny. How are they teaching engineering classes during COVID? Are they allowed to still be on campus to complete labs, etc.?
So we are currently teaching our classes using Zoom, and we're trying to make it as interactive as possible by using different kinds of pedagogical techniques. So this would include things like the Zoom breakout rooms, the chats, discussions between students and also between faculty and students. We also are handling a lot of our office hours on Zoom as well. We are also leveraging some of the different, I would say, tools as far as like Google Jamboards and things that, again, make it more interactive, making word clouds. So most of our sections right now are synchronous. That means that the students are meeting in real time at the time that's on their schedules. And like I said, we are utilizing Zoom for this. I think there was a follow-up question. I'd have to see what that was.
Let's see.
What was
Let me
that?
get to where was it? Oh wait, let me get down to the bottom
Oh,
here.
are they still allowed to be on campus to complete labs? So some of our labs right now are asynchronous, and there is no in-person meeting for those labs, for example, the chemistry labs right now. But there are a number of classes that are in-person or hybrid mode, so it really depends on what sections students have signed up for. So I do know that some of my students are currently having a hybrid mode for some of their math classes and some of their elective courses as well.
All right, excellent. Okay, so I think I can tackle this one. If I do general engineering my first year, then pick a specific engineering major, would that be 4 more years or 3? It's typically going to be 3 more years. You don't pick general engineering. You come into general engineering, you don't really have a choice because that's just the way that it's set up. But it's set up as the first year of a 4-year program. Now, does that mean for sure you're going to graduate in exactly 4 years? That depends on how well you do. That depends on how many credits you're bringing in. Depends on a number of factors. But generically speaking, if you can come in and follow a program that will You come in as a general engineering student for the first year, and then for the next 3 years, you're in your major and you graduate within a 4-year time period. All right, next question. If I have an associate's degree, would I be attending as a third-year student in general engineering classes? Alexis, would you handle that one?
Sure, happy to. So I think that would depend on if you are coming into Virginia Tech as a transfer, what we would call a transfer student, or a first-year student. That would dictate sort of which classes you would be taking. So the associate's degree would have to been earned post-secondary. So you have to have at least 12 credit hours post-secondary, or school, to be considered a transfer student. If you're not, then yes, you would be coming into general engineering, and which classes you would take would depend on what you have transfer credit for. And we would set you up a schedule to accommodate for that. But we've had plenty of students that come in as first years with associate's degrees in the past. So it can work.
All right. And so, Jenny, here's a good one. Does the general engineering class tie in other engineering majors? And if so, which ones?
So this is an interesting question because while we don't have, I guess, direct ties with the different majors in our courses, we do offer opportunities for exploration, because one of the things that we're trying to do is help students with resources to make a good decision when they want to choose their major at the end of their spring or in their spring semester. So we do things like we have a assignment where students think about a couple of different majors that they may be interested in. We also do engineering of the day profiles, where students learn about what other Virginia Tech alumni have done with their engineering degrees, and to also kind of help explain what kind of careers people have had once they've moved out to the workplace. And then there are major information sessions where students are invited to network and talk with other departments within the College of Engineering, again, to hopefully help make an informed decision about what major is a good fit for them.
Will classes be back to normal by the fall of next year? The answer is we have no idea. That depends on so many factors that are outside of the control of the college. That depends on what happens around the world. That depends on what happens in the country. That just depends on so many factors that there's really no way that we can make a prediction about how classes are going to be in the fall. So unfortunately, we don't know. We can cross our fingers and hope for the best, but we'll just have to see what happens. But we will adapt no matter what happens. How difficult is it to switch majors in engineering? Is it very competitive? The answer to that question is it depends on the major that you want to switch into. So different majors have different levels of competitiveness. So historically speaking, the most competitive majors at Virginia Tech have been computer science, they've been aerospace engineering, and mechanical engineering, just historically speaking. Now, if you hit a 3.0 overall GPA once you've completed all of your required classes, then you're guaranteed your first choice major. So it doesn't really matter how competitive it is if you can maintain that B average in your classes or better. But if you land in between a 3.0 and a 2.0, then it's going to be important that you pick majors that, as your second and third choices, that may be a little bit less competitive, but that you could still live with earning a degree in. But generally speaking, you always want to pick, no matter how competitive it is, your dream major as your first choice. That's why we have multiple choices like that. Jenny, perhaps you'd want to do this one. What type of math classes are offered in general engineering?
Yes, so in the first year, students take Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, essentially, so differential and integral calculus. And then it depends on also, I guess, whether or not you're coming in with transfer credit or AP credit. So some of our first year students are taking more advanced courses that typically we'd be taking during the sophomore year. So for example, differential calculus or multivariable calculus.
Mhm. All right, thank you very much. Alexis, here's a good one for you. If someone has already taken AP physics, calculus, or chemistry, do you recommend that they still take the classes in college?
That's really a personal decision, I would say. So depending on how recent you took those classes, how the class was structured, was it taught to the exam? Do you feel confident in information that you've learned? So yeah, that would be something that you would definitely want to chat with an advisor about before signing up for your classes, and just kind of gauging where you feel most confident in those courses. So we have students that do choose to retake some classes, but some move on to the next level.
All right. Very nice. Thank you. All right. Here's a good one that's popped up here. Maybe you can answer this, Jenny. Uh, what classes should I take in high school to prepare myself for general engineering?
Yes. So I think many of the students that I've talked to said that having strong foundation in the science and the math has been really helpful for them. So I would encourage you to think about, for example, physics, chemistry, calculus. And again, I think that this will differ depending on what your high school offers. So again, thinking about it in terms of what is the variety of classes that you have available to you? What are the levels of challenge that you have? And then again, you can think about it from there. You can also reach out to, I guess, people at Virginia Tech to help you with those conversations as well. But I would also encourage you to talk to your high school guidance counselor as well.
Yes. Thank you very much. All right, I guess I can tackle this one. If someone uses AP credits to skip classes like first year writing and calculus of a single variable and decides to take more challenging second year courses, will the 3.0 GPA requirement still exist? Well, number one, the 3.0 GPA requirement is for to get your guaranteed first choice. The actual requirement is 2.0 to be eligible to apply. So just to clarify that. But the answer to the question is yes. All of the GPA considerations still apply no matter what classes you take. So if you want to get that first choice major, you definitely want to get that 3.0 requirement. So that means sometimes strategically taking classes or choosing your classes during the first year to kind of balance making progress towards a degree, but also hitting that 3.0 GPA. What are some of the research options for freshmen? Jenny, do you want to take a shot at
Yeah,
that
I could
one?
take that one. So I'm pretty excited that you're asking about this question because I think that this is one of the strong suits of Virginia Tech is being a research institution, particularly a Research One institution. So while there's not a requirement for our students in the first year to do any undergraduate research, we do have a lot of resources to help you think through the process of locating and finding a project that might be a good fit for you. So for example, we have a Office of Undergraduate Research, where you can meet with different student ambassadors, and they also have seminars and conferences that you can attend just to see what kind of research people are doing. We also have, for example, a seminar for the College of Engineering that you can take where they bring in different faculty from across the college and they talk about their research projects. And I think that's also a good way to network and to find particular projects that might align with your interests. We do also have some students that just go online and they find a particular faculty member and a project that they really connect with, and then they just reach out on a one-to-one basis and see whether or not there are any possibilities for an undergraduate research project.
All right, excellent. All right, Alexis, I got a good one for you. How helpful are engineering LLCs like Galileo Hypatia for first year engineering and why?
I would say extremely helpful. It's an opportunity for you to have a community coming into Virginia Tech of students that have similar goals as yourself, while also being with a diverse group of people too, with different goals and different needs and different backgrounds. So I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage of that. And just statistically wise, they have almost a 92% retention rate. From the first year to the second year, those that are in that community. So that's a great, yeah.
All right. Okay, I think I can get this one. Is it common to minor in something else while also majoring in engineering? It is pretty common. About 25% of engineering majors graduate with some minor, but that means that 75% don't have any kind of minor at all. So it's perfectly acceptable to not minor, but the common minors for engineering students are math, just because it's so easy to get that minor. Computer science is another big one. We also have some minors that are kind of designed to go with engineering majors, like green engineering as a minor or biomedical engineering as a minor are fantastic minors for engineering disciplines. Like I said, about 25%. All right. Oh, here's a good one for you, Jenny. What does homework look like for freshmen? Is it mostly studying and projects, and is it more independent or group work?
So I'm going to speak directly toward the Foundations of Engineering 1 class, which is the course that I'm teaching right now. I would say it's a mix of independent or individual and group work. So part of what we do is we do try to get students to work across a couple of different projects in the first semester. So for example, right now they're working on 3 different group projects, one at a time. And then there are also some individual assignments to help with that as well. In addition, in the spring semester, there's typically an overarching design project where you work with a team, and those teams typically range between, I would say, 4 to 6 students. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a idea of the size of the groups that you might be working with.
Are there internship/co-op opportunities for freshmen?
Absolutely. I would say most students are gaining kind of an internship co-op experience in sophomore, junior years, but we do absolutely have some freshmen that are able to secure those opportunities, and that just depends on, a lot of times it's them putting themselves out there and being open and willing to talk to employers about different experiences they have. And those experiences may not have anything to do with engineering, but it's how they're able to sell that to employers. So we have a great office on campus called the Career and Professional Development Office, that hosts a variety of career fairs. We also have a large career fair that the college hosts as well. So definitely check those opportunities out to get yourself in front of employers as a first year student to maybe gain that opportunity.
Oh, here's a good one for you, Alexis. When applying for jobs, is it typically better to have a more general degree over a more specialized degree? That's a very good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say it really depends. There's a place in this world for people that are specialized, but there's also a place in this world for generalists. So I think it really just depends on what you want to do and how you want to approach that within engineering. So yeah, either is a great.
Excellent. Thank you. Oh, Jenny, here's a good one for you. How many classes are taught by faculty versus graduate assistants?
So I can only speak to the ones that are handled by our department and not the other departments like chemistry or math or things like that. But in our department, for the general engineering courses, essentially I would say, I think all of our sections except for one section this semester are taught by faculty. And for that other section where we have a graduate student who is an instructor of record, that is somebody who has been here quite a bit of time, has been well vetted, has a lot of teaching experience. And so this is somebody that we are trusting is going to do a really good job and also wants to have that additional experience with being an instructor of record. Because part of what our department does is that we want to make sure that our graduate students have positive teaching experience before they go out into the workplace. So I know a lot of people have some reservations about graduate students being their instructor of record, but for our department, we feel that that is a fundamental part of what we do for our graduate program, and we want to make sure that we have opportunities for our graduate students to have authentic teaching experiences. But like I said, the majority of our sections are taught by faculty.
Right. Thank you very much. I think I will take this next one. How do engineering students balance their coursework with enjoying college? The name of the game in college is time management. So, there's a common misconception among college students in their first semester that they have a lot of free time. So, let's say you're registered for the typical loads, like maybe about 16 credit hours. That generally means that you only have to be somewhere 16, 17, maybe 18 hours if you have a lab or something like that. And so that means that the remaining 168 hours per week is wide open. And people think, wow, I have all this free time. But in reality, you do not. You need to be treating college as if it is a full-time job. It's very important to schedule your time, not just your actual classes, but when you're going to work on homework, when you're going to study, but also schedule when are you going to enjoy life? When are you going to participate in clubs? When are you going to participate in just social gatherings with your friends? The better you can plan that, or the more stringently you can plan that, the better your experience is going to be. So probably your best friend will be a weekly planner where you block out everything that you're going to do over the course of the week, hour by hour. So that's my answer to that. It can be easy. You just have to be organized about it. All right. Next one. This is a good one for you, Alexis. How easy is it to switch between engineering majors if you initially decide to stay in general engineering?
Hmm. Okay, so to clarify part of your question, so you can't graduate with a degree in general engineering. So at some point, you will have to declare a degree granting major at Virginia Tech, which is actually as long you have to declare by 55 GPA hours. So how easy is it to switch? So let's say you've left general engineering and you've declared aerospace engineering, for example, and you wanted to switch to construction engineering management. You can do so during the next application cycle, and then you would still have the same requirements to consider. So you still, well, you'd already have the coursework done, but you would still have to have that GPA to be guaranteed. So I guess you just have to think about how is your GPA at that point, and then if you've already started taking aerospace engineering classes, that might put you behind in a different major when you switch. So there's some things you definitely want to consider, but it is possible.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Jenny, I think this question is asking about the class. I'm not sure, but let's talk about this one. What does general engineering cover?
Yes. So I think since we're not quite sure what this question is asking, I guess I can talk a little bit about general engineering as a first year program, and that there is a set required course load that each student is required to take before they can declare their major. So for example, there are certain math courses, science courses, engineering courses, English courses, etc. Now for our foundations of engineering courses, which are taught by our home department, essentially that would cover things like graphic communication, teamwork, algorithmic development. Right now we're using MATLAB. We also talk about communication in general. So for example, how do you write reports? How do you do presentations? So I think that there are a lot of topics that we cover that can basically be well used when you go off into your majors, essentially, at the end of your first year.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So let me address this next one. How does this program work with the Corps of Cadets? So if you're coming into the Corps of Cadets, and you could be coming in as a civilian corps, Air Force ROTC, Navy ROTC, Army ROTC, any one of those options. Generally, there are some specific courses that you have to take that are specific to Corps, the Corps of Cadets. Because of those courses, it's very difficult to graduate with an engineering degree in 4 years. There are a couple like computer science or civil engineering where there's enough flexibility in the curriculum for you to be able to complete your degree in maybe 4.5 years. And if you have the right combination of AP or dual enrollment credits, maybe squeak out in 4 years. But for the vast majority of engineering majors, it's going to be a 5-year program if you're in the Corps of Cadets, and that's very common. So that is something to consider. Now, we do have a lot of cadets who are in the engineering disciplines. So it's not like it's something that you shouldn't do. I know that engineering is very valued in all of the different branches. So and it's a fantastic program that we have here with our Corps of Cadets. So don't let that 5 years scare you off from potentially doing that. I think you can get a lot out of it. All right. So, Alexis, here's a good one. This is definitely in your wheelhouse. I'm debating between two majors, aerospace and mechanical. How would one choose? Is it possible to do mechanical as a minor?
So I'll answer your first question, or sorry, your second question first. It is not possible to do a minor in mechanical engineering. We do not offer that minor. So then it would just be a matter of looking at what are your goals? What are you trying to learn with your engineering major? And then assessing the classes that you would take for the different majors, and also looking into a variety of the resources we have to help students explore majors. But you're going to come in general engineering, so you'll have plenty of time to make a decision. You'll have pretty much your whole first year.
All right. No worries. All right.
And I can also help with the question that was just asked. Mm-hmm. So in your first year course in the first semester engineering class, we do have some assignments to help you with respect to figuring out what major is a good fit for you. So for example, we have a writing assignment that asks students to basically do their own research and think about 3 potential majors that they might be interested in. We also have some departmental information or major information sessions where each of the departments has representatives that you can talk to. And so if you have specific questions, whether that's of other students that are in the major already or advisors or faculty members, that's a really great resource for that. Also, our career and professional development office can also help with those decisions as well. So I think that, yeah, we offer a lot of different people and resources that you can connect with to hopefully help you make an informed decision.
Absolutely. One thing I will point out is your degree is not your destiny. That's when it comes to being an engineer. You can't really go wrong. Pretty much any engineering degree is a good degree to have. And there are plenty of people who maybe get mechanical engineering degrees who work as aerospace engineers. So it really just depends on kind of your skill development and career trajectories are not really super predictable. You never know where you're going to end up. So just follow what interests you. Do all engineering students, regardless if they have chosen a specific type of engineering, do the same classes for the first and/or second year? For the first year, generally, yes. We're looking at like there are certain courses that you must take in order to be eligible to change your major. So and those were the classes that were discussed a bit earlier: the foundations of engineering, calculus of a single variable, physics, chemistry, and first year writing. Those are important for the first year. There are some majors where you might take another class in your first year to kind of start setting you up to meet prerequisites for the next year. So, for example, if you do chemical engineering, you'll take the second half of chemistry. You have to take the first half of chemistry in order to get into your major, but most engineering majors don't take the second half of chemistry. But if you want to do chemical engineering, obviously, you're going to need a lot more chemistry. If you want to do computer science, generally you want to take the intro to the programming class, CS 1114, to meet the prerequisites. Now, you don't need to take those classes to get into the major. It's just that if you don't take those classes, then there are going to be certain classes that you would typically take in your second year that you wouldn't meet the prerequisites for. But generally speaking, most of the classes are going to be the same in the first year, depending on what credits you bring with you. Do you recommend the STEP program for the summer prior to entering in the fall? Alexis, you want to tackle that one?
Sure. So I guess it just would depend on what your goals are coming into Virginia Tech. But I do think it's a great program. It's a great way to get your feet wet into college. Also with other students that are like-minded as yourself, trying to get into engineering or be prepared for engineering, depending on which situation that you're in. So yeah, it's a great opportunity just to start early if you have the freedom to do so.
I think I almost see it as like a trial run, without having the, I guess, the stress of grades on you.
Right.
So
Sure.
you can kind of get some introductory material into like your chemistry, your math, your engineering courses. But you don't get a grade for those courses as part of the STEP program. The other great thing that students who have taken the STEP program tell me is that many of the friends that they met during the STEP program remain their friends, and they've made a lot of really great connections as far as people that they've met within the College of Engineering personnel, graduate students, faculty, etc.
Mhm. Absolutely. Definitely building those social networks early is going to be really important. It's probably about maybe 5, 6, 7 weeks in where the homesickness starts to kick in a little bit, and having that social network there is really helpful. Okay. Well, thank you very much for participating. If you have any additional questions, you can always get in touch with any of us. My email is jamesn@vt.edu, jamesn@vt.edu. You can get in touch with us that way, and then if we can't answer your questions, we can forward your questions to the right people. Thank you very much for your participation today, and have a good day. Bye-bye.